Network is it.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
February 10th, 2026, coming up on Roland Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The National Governors Association cancels its annual meeting at the White House after Donald Trump intentionally left Democratic governors out. New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica Mclver calls out the leadership of the acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director during today's House and Homeland Security's committee. Yeah, we're going to show you that, folks. Plus, Republican officials are outraged that by Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, now they're calling the NFL and NBC to be investigated. Really, y'all? Really? On Sunday, a white North Carolina pastor preached a message that all conservatives really need to hear. We'll show you. Plus, a new report shows Black Americans are still paying the price in health outcomes under Donald Trump's America. I'll be joined by the National Urban League Vice President of Health Equity and Policy and the founder of Protect Our Care. And in our Black Star Network marketplace, got a sweet tooth. We've got you covered with a Black-owned treat straight out of Texas that's turning pecans into pure love. I'll talk with the founder of TC's Pieces of Love Gourmet Pecans. Folks, it's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
Folks, every year the National Governors Association meets in Washington, D.C. That often includes a meeting with White House officials and a dinner at the White House. Well, guess what? That dinner will not be taking place this year because the NGA has decided that because Donald Trump has chosen to only invite Republican governors, they are not going to go to the White House. Brandon Tatum, the CEO of the National Governors Association, released this statement. The bipartisan White House governors meeting is an important tradition, and we are disappointed in the administration's decision to make it a partisan occasion this year. Guys, with a graphic. To disinvite individual governors to the White House sessions undermines an important opportunity for federal-state collaboration. At this moment in our nation's history, it is critical that institutions continue to stand for unity, dignity, and constructive engagement. NGA will remain focused on serving all governors as they deliver solutions and model leadership for the American people. Now, traditionally, the White House has played a role in fostering these moments during NGA's annual meeting. This year, they will not. Carolyn Levitt, the White House chief liar, had this to say about the NGA in that meeting.
Governors Association is removing a meeting with President Trump from his agenda because only Republicans were invited. Is the White House reconsidering inviting Democrats, or do you think Republicans are still going to show up? Like, where does that stand now?
No, look, I just spoke with the president about this. It is a dinner at the White House. It's the people's house. It's also the president's home, and so he can invite whomever he wants to dinners and events here at the White House. I believe Governor Moore was invited last year, and he did not show up to the dinner last year. Nobody reported on it. But again, the president has the discretion to invite whomever he wants to the White House, and he welcomes all those who received an invitation to come. And if they don't want to, that's their loss.
Maryland Democratic Governor Wes Moore said the White House singled him out by excluding him from a couple of bipartisan events. He did several interviews over the weekend talking about that very issue. And you had several Democratic governors who said that they were not going to do anything with them. And now the entire NGA. My panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA out of D.C., joins us right now. Randy Bryant, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and creator of The Truthing Game out of D.C. Dr. Larry J. Walker, associate professor, University of Central Florida, Orlando. Larry, you worked on Capitol Hill. The reality is this is often a bipartisan group. You have Republicans and you have Democrats. Governor Wes Moore of Maryland, he is the vice chair of the NGA. And this goes to show you how shameful and pathetic Donald Trump is by his refusal to actually have Democrats at this meeting. And listen, he's pissed off with more. He's pissed off that Colorado Governor Jared Polis refused to release that election worker who was sent to prison because she broke the law. And so this is what should happen. The NGA should say, no, we're not going to entertain your childish, petulant ways, Donald Trump.
Roland, this reminds me of the meme of a person swinging, swinging their fist in the air and there's nothing there. I've never, I'm all the time working on Capitol Hill. You're right, NGA, every year they go to the White House and have various events. I've never seen this before, but this is not the first time we've seen where the president has decided that certain individuals are welcome in the White House. You heard her talk about the people's house. It's the people's house, stop. It's not, that's just the way it goes. You're essentially, renting the White House until we have another election. But this is disappointing, Roland, but this is another example of kind of this petulant attitude as it relates to leadership. We hear a lot about, individuals dividing the country. This is an example of exactly that. If you want to work with individuals, governors in a situation on a bipartisan basis, then you have to invite all the governors and they should be welcome once again in the people's house. But once again, this is another example of how, that we see a lot of this partisan behavior. And quite frankly, like I said, it's childish to behave like that, particularly at a time like this when it's, you need to have these strong relationships with governors from other states. But you're right. Moore is the only black governor. We should note, Roland, this is another issue we've talked about in terms of racism in this country, particularly coming from the White House. So it's disappointing, but not surprising.
Mustafa, we've seen the nonsense because we've seen this administration withhold money from blue states. That shows you how these folks operate.
Yeah, I mean, everything that they do is non-helpful for the country, right? We need governors to be able to get together, and of course they still will, but to be able to talk about the sets of challenges that are out there and the sets of opportunities and the resources that are needed, and have a fruitful conversation with whomever is in the White House. But these individuals are not interested in that. All they want to do is create chaos. They create chaos to hide some of the other things that are going on so that your attention moves to this. And this is an important issue as well. But you just got to understand the dynamics in the game that is being played. You got to be able to filter through some of this stuff, stay focused on the most important issues, but at the same time, and I'm thankful that the Governors Association said, you know what, thank you, but no thank you. Since all of us can't be here, none of us will be here.
But that took a couple of days, Randy, and this is where Republicans should have come out day one and said, no, Donald Trump, this is unacceptable. And initially, Kevin Stitt, the governor of Oklahoma, who is the president of the NGA, tried to say that, well, invitations are limited. Dude, there are 55 governors. There are 50 states and, of course, the American territories. So what do you mean there's limited?
Right. I'll be honest, when Wes Moore was disinvited or not invited, I was not shocked because the president has made it clear that he's racist. But I wonder if, the governors would have taken this stand. I'm happy that they did, but I didn't hear them immediately taking the stand that if this one governor is not invited, we will not all attend. But when we heard that there were more Democratic governors that were not attending, then it does seem as if Republicans took a stand and said none of us will attend, which I'm happy to see. Trump is very clearly he doesn't even understand what bipartisan is. He does not know how to work with others. He's a thug. And he's used to having his way. And if you don't give him what he wants, he just shuts down, just like you said, like a child.
I want to make it clear to our people again, Larry, that this administration has purposely withheld money from blue states, taxpayers. So when Carolyn Levitt says it's the people's house, it's the president's house, no. He lives in the residence. It is the people's house. And this shows you Donald Trump does not act like, nor does he believe he is the president for all of America. He's only the president of the people, not even the states, but the people who voted for him, because he'll screw over black people and others who live in the states that he wants.
Roland, you hit it right on the nose. And let's remind folks who are watching, he's withheld funding that's critical, whether it's related to healthcare or childcare or various other issues, in the hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases. And, you talked about these blue states, they've had to take them to court and sue, and 9 times out of 10 have won. But this is another example of, not playing nice with the individuals who have differing political views. And listen, we pay into the tax system. And so we expect to get those tax dollars back. We should also note, states like Maryland and others, some of these blue states have far more money, and in terms of taxes, pay into the federal government than some of the other poorer states throughout the United States. So it's also there's a disparity between some of these states he doesn't like, but they're okay spending the money on ICE and other things when they think it's necessary.
Reality is, right-wing media would be aghast, angry. They'll be acting a fool, Mustafa, if Joe Biden, Barack Obama, any Democratic president did this. And it goes to show you the double standards that this idiot can do whatever he wants to, and they're perfectly fine with it, and they won't say a damn thing.
No, they won't. And they actually help to drive the narrative. They help to drive the anger. They help to drive, these actions that are going on. They have a responsibility also. At the end of the day, folks are going to, take a look at this administration and see all the folks who played a role in allowing these various sets of injustices to happen. In this moment, we've got to continue to highlight and call out the foolishness that's going on. We got to make sure that we vote, of course, also in the midterms. We got to also make sure that when these courts are not doing what they're supposed to do, that we're also highlighting that. So there's a lot of various things that we've got to do in this moment to kind of dull some of this thing that's going on, because the person who's currently in the White House, the only thing that he really cares about is money. He used to care a little bit about his poll numbers, but they've been tanking so much, I'm not sure that that's a driver anymore. The real question becomes, are we going to put pressure on these folks who are going to be back up for election? And make sure that they understand that if you continue down this road, that, there will be consequences. So we'll see how it all plays out soon.
This is who these people are. They do not care about all of America. They only care about red America, Randy.
They have a very narrow definition of what American is. And if you are not within their parameters, in other words, if you are not rich, white, Christian, straight, then they don't feel as if they have to serve you. They don't feel as if you have any rights. And so they feel very comfortable, even though we are, paying to make this government run, they feel very comfortable withholding money and time from us. It is insane that he is just the president for certain people, and not even all Republicans. And I think need to see that too. You have to be a MAGA Republican. You have to believe in what he believes in, or he will withhold any sort of guidance or leadership from you, or money from you.
Yep, that's exactly who they are. Going to a break. I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
My brothers and my sisters, this is Bishop William J. Barber II, and I'm coming to you with an urgent call from repairers of the breach and all of our partners. From Wednesday, February the 11th to Saturday, February the 14th, it's time to love forward together. We are mobilizing from Wilson to Raleigh. This is a call to all who love voting rights, love justice and truth, who believe in health care for all, living wages, labor rights, and caring for every person in our communities, who believe in life and not shooting people down in the street. We march each morning, February the 11th, 12th, 13th at 9 a.m., beginning at St. James Christian Church in Wilson, North Carolina. And on February the 14th, we gather at Shaw University, march down Fayetteville Street, and we have a rally right there at 10 o'clock a.m. Join us for the Love Forward Together Mass People's Assembly and Moral March mobilization. Visit breachrepairers.org for everything you need to register. This is William J. Barber II, paid for by Repairers of the Breach.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Got a little heated, y'all, today during the House Homeland Security Committee hearing. New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica Mclver didn't hold back when she was questioning the acting Immigration and Custom Enforcement Director, Todd Lyons. Mclver jammed him up on several different issues. Watch.
As the senior official lead in ICE enforcement, much of today's scrutiny falls on you, and it should. We have seen repeatedly that Republicans, Trump administration, its DHS, and your agency will do absolutely anything to avoid answering for your actions. When I showed up to inspect Delaney Hall, a private prison that you contract with, ICE tried not to give us an oversight tour. Then, instead of taking accountability for ICE's attempts to keep us from seeing this facility's conditions to know if people's basic rights were being upheld, this administration is doing all they can to try to put me in prison for 17 years. When ICE shot and killed Renee Good, Kristi Noem called her a domestic terrorist. When Alex Preddy, you all tried to tell us he was threatening officers with a gun, but all we saw was a phone. This administration's clear lies fell apart, not because someone had a come to Jesus moment, but because we saw these murders from every angle. You are only here because public outrage has become so unavoidable. You are here, Mr. Lyons, because white people are getting shot in the face and chest when the cameras are rolling. Because now my Republican colleagues care about optics, but when Keith Porter Jr., a Black American citizen, a son, a father, and a man loved by many was killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve, there were no hearings. So this is for him today. In my district, Jean Wilson Brutus, a Haitian immigrant, a beloved family man, died within 24 hours of being in ICE custody. He is just one of more than 30 people who have died in ICE custody last year. This is for all of them. Every human being your rogue, out-of-control agency has hurt, hunted down, imprisoned, killed, and continue to hold hostage even after they have agreed to be deported. We know this administration doesn't care about protecting people or sparing lives. We all see so plainly what you are doing, what you have been doing to Black and brown folks, immigrants, people silenced in the shadows, now in broad daylight to people peacefully rejecting your cruel agenda in the streets, which is their right to do. This is the despicable but predictable result of an agency that laughs at oversight, receives billions to deploy lethal force on our neighborhoods, and seems to believe that they are above the law and should be without accountability. This administration believes it can act first, explain later, or hell, never explain at all, as we see here today. You all seem to think you are the highest power who decides which people deserve dignity, protection, due process, but you are wrong. We are here for answers. We are here for accountability, and we are here because people are dying. Let me repeat that. People are dying, and you don't seem to care. So, Mr. Lyons, I've heard my colleagues ask many questions over and over again, and you cannot answer them. So let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer. Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government
The gentlelady will
agencies-
suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Chairman?
A gentlelady will suspend. As I said, the issues we're debating here are important to ones that members feel deeply about.
Thank you,
While
Chairman.
vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum and debate. The witnesses are here voluntarily, and I will continue to remind members that while oversight is important, aggressively attacking those witnesses personally is inappropriate and not in keeping with the traditions of our committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking a question. You guys are always talking about religion here in the Bible. I mean, it's okay for me to ask a question, right? But let me continue on. I got your note.
All right, the gentlelady may resume.
Thank you so much. Let me get back to my question, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I appreciate you. How many government agencies, Mr. Lyons, are you aware of that routinely kill American citizens and still get funding?
Ma'am, I'm not going to entertain that.
Of course you're not. Exactly. Once again, questions that you cannot answer. And that is exactly why, Mr. Chairman, and to this committee, to my colleagues, and to my colleagues across the aisle, this is exactly why we should not be funding this agency. The people are watching you. They are watching you. And this is why we need to abolish ICE. With that, I yield back. Thank you kindly.
That line ran there. Wait a minute, I thought y'all always want to talk about religion around here.
When she was just went off about when she said, "You all are always talking about religion. You're always talking about God. Let's talk about it then. How you think God is going to view you? Let's talk about Judgment Day, because that is, they always want to act as if they're these Christians and they're so kind, but she laid it plain. You are killing people and you are targeting Black and brown people. You have blood on your hands. So you, who claims that he's such a big Christian, how do you think that God is going to judge you? She brought it right back to where they always start. I thought it was great. Bravo.
I was just sitting here, and I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that. And again, she was one of the folks who they arrested outside, and they are still trying to pursue putting her in prison, Mustafa.
Yeah, well, in a religious context, what is it? Romans 6:7, the wages of sin is death. When you're, sin is murder. Murder is sin. So you can't escape that. And if you are supporting it with sets of policies and actions, not holding people accountable and continuing to go on, then, you have to be held accountable for it. You should be held accountable both on this side and then, of course, on the spiritual side when we transition. They're going after anyone who continues to, push back and to highlight things. And unfortunately, we've got these congresspersons who are willing to step out there and folks continue to just try and knock them down to silence their voices. And that's why we have to support folks when they're willing to stand up for us. And if we don't do that, then people are going to be less likely to continue to raise the important issues and to push back.
Larry?
He better watch his back. You know, that that reminded me of Whoopi Goldberg from the original Color Purple when she pointed at Danny Glover and basically, said he was, put a hex on him, And listen,
until you do right by me.
Right. That's exactly it. So he better watch his back. That's all I have to say. Listen, when black folks, particularly black women, get biblical on you, you got something on your hands. But she highlighted some really important points, and the hypocrisy. You hear a lot about Christianity and God and the Ten Commandments, but that has to be reflected in policies and actions. And you don't see that from the administration. You don't see that from the Department of Homeland Security or ICE. Obviously, we've seen the numerous incidents of not only U.S. citizens being killed, being harassed, etc. So you have to do better. And until you do better, right, Roland, in terms of, think about Whoopi Goldberg from the movie, then, he should be careful walking around.
Yeah, I mean, listen, get your little self together. Like I said, they still are trying to go after McIver in the DOJ, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, let's deal with these old crazy-ass people. Conservative leaders, including some white supremacists in Congress like Tennessee's Andy Ogles, they are still mad and upset and highly bothered because of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. Now, Ogles has written a letter to the Energy and Commerce Committee demanding a congressional investigation into the NFL and NBC. Ogles posted this on social media. He said the Apple Music Super Bowl Alex halftime show was pure smut, brazenly aired on national television for every American family to witness. Children were forced to endure explicit displays of gay sexual acts, women gyrating provocatively, and Bad Bunny shamelessly grabbing his crotch while dry humping the air. And if that weren't outrageous enough, the performance's lyrics openly glorified sodomy and countless other unspeakable depravities. These flagrant, indecent acts are illegal to be displayed on public airwaves. That is why I'm requesting that the Energy and Commerce Committee launch a formal congressional inquiry into the National Football League and NBC immediately for their prior knowledge, deliberate approval, and facilitation of this indecent broadcast. American culture will not be mocked or corrupted without consequence. Y'all, he literally wrote that. Florida Congressman Randy Fine, total nutcase, posted this on social media. You can't say the F word on live TV. Bad Bunny's disgusting halftime show was illegal. Had he said these lyrics and all of the other disgusting and pornographic filth in English on live TV, the broadcast would have been pulled down and the fines would have been enormous. Puerto Ricans are Americans and we all live by the same rules. We are sending Brendan Carr a letter calling for dramatic action, including fines and broadcast license reviews against the NFL, NBC, and Bad Bunny. Lock them up. I told y'all these people are insane. Maybe they should listen to longtime NFL broadcaster, sports broadcaster, Rich Eisen, who was at the Super Bowl, and he said this on his radio show, which I think is worthy of these idiots to pay attention to.
I was highly impressed at the jump, and then got more and more impressed as I learned more and more about it, because I didn't see a lot of what you saw on television. What you see in the stadium is a spectacle. And I'll be honest with you, as soon as the Myers made it 9-0 and there was 16 seconds left in the half, I ran to run an errand, if you will, so I could get back to my seat in time for Bad Bunny. And there were many others who were needed to run an errand.
Was it fertilize and?
No, sir. But I appreciate you asking. I try to be subtle about it, but once again, you weren't. It's all good.
I'm trying to remember the quote.
Move
what
on.
was the quote?
Do you remember?
I don't know what the quote is. I'd like to move on now.
Water and fertilize the eagle.
So all I'm just saying is I got back and the setup had started and it was just as the first notes were being played. And I thought to myself, my God, that's a lot of greenery on the field. Like, what is happening? And what is happening was a total, complete spectacle of joy. And I didn't understand a word of it. I didn't understand a word of it. And all I could see was the building was rocking. And the many Spanish-speaking people around me were losing their minds. And just the sense of joy. It was joyous. And then you learn later on the Easter eggs and the meaning of the sugar cane and the meaning of the light poles and the meaning of everything that he was doing. It seemed like every ounce of that Super Bowl halftime show was produced and it had an intent to it. And then you find out that amongst the partiers in that first sequence of the halftime show ran the gamut from Pedro Pascal to Ronald Acuna Jr.,
right?
You know, and Jessica Alba and John Hamm in costume and Cardi B. Am I missing anybody? There's a whole bunch more, right?
Carol G.
And it was wild. And then, you know, the ultimate message about the only thing more powerful than hate is love was awesome. And I noticed the shot of that screen of the scoreboard was behind me. And I just want to make sure it wasn't, you know, like green screen or anything like that. I learned it was on the board behind me. And what an awesome message it was. And then we find out the marriage that happened, it wasn't just planned.
Yeah.
I mean, pardon me, it wasn't just part of the landscape.
Yeah, the show, yeah.
Apparently what? These two people really were getting married and invited Bad Buddy to the wedding.
And he was like, I can do you one better.
How about you get married during my halftime show?
Yeah. Really cool.
Which is what you're talking about. Love. It's about love. It's about meeting. It's about celebrating. It was a celebration. It really was. Lady Gaga showed up. That was awesome. Ricky Martin showed up. Okay. And it was just joyous. And at the end, I just looked around and everyone was smiling and dancing. And you know what? I'll go here. I'm going to stray. I understand the conversation around the Bad Bunny selection by the National Football League and how it is un-American or it is not welcome. And I'll just say this. I sat next to Stuart Scott for 7 years when all he heard was from some people saying what you are doing and how you are doing it is wrong, and I don't like it, and it's because they sensed it wasn't for them, that Stewart wasn't talking to them. He was talking to an audience and saying things that was for that audience, and you're not part of that audience, and you felt it was exclusionary, rather than taking a moment and listening to what he was saying and how he was saying it and who he was saying it about and getting into it and understanding it. I sat next to him for 7 years, and I kind of got that vibe last night. He's not being exclusionary. He's trying to be inclusionary about what he's about and what his upbringing is and how it is uniquely American as well. And all I'm going to say is this on this front, is that if you feel that your way of life and your value system and your upbringing is under attack, and you want your way of life and your upbringing to rule the day, the only way for you to feel respect for your way of life and your upbringing is to have mutual respect for someone else's and have a curiosity about it. and an interest in it to know that collectively we can all do it together. That's the message I got last night sitting in that stadium. And it's unfortunate if somebody didn't see it or sense it because they tuned it out before.
Mustafa, what he said about Stuart Scott I think was important. Stuart Scott, our alpha brother, Larry as well, he got hate mail. He was trashed. White columnists, white sports radio hosts, executives at CNN could not stand him saying booyah, cooler on the other side of the pillow. They didn't like his lingo. They literally gave Stuart Scott hell for years because he wasn't like Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick. Half the time, I had no idea what the hell Keith Olbermann was talking about. Doesn't mean I thought it was bad. He had his own style. Kenny Mayne had his own style. And that's what this is all about. We played yesterday the outrageous nutcase response of Megyn Kelly. And you got all these other white folks on Fox News who are just losing their minds. They're just going crazy. And what do I keep saying? These people, they care about white identity. They care about white culture. That's what they care about. They despise, wait a minute, last year Kendrick's halftime was hell, all American. We had flags, red, white, and blue, and they still hated it because it was a black dude rapping. So it's clear all these people care about is whiteness.
How do I want to respond to that? Bad Bunny, lo hizo la gente. What that means is that he did it for the people. He was building a bridge, just like Stewart did. They were about bridge building, right? They were bringing new language and new ways of being able to express and to highlight the areas that they focus on. And these individuals, you know, these folks who keep complaining and throwing stones, their whole thing is about making sure that there is no narrative but the narrative that they believe represents America. And they're completely wrong, of course, and they're afraid. They're afraid because America continues to evolve and change and is browning. And so they do anything that they can to try and tear down anyone who is talking about love, who is talking about healing, who is talking about history. Because for those of us who understand Spanish, and even if you didn't understand Spanish, you could very easily have went and looked up what the symbolism was talking about, whether it's talking about the hurricanes and the impacts that happened there, talking about slavery and sugarcane, talking about also about culture, about Black roots and brown bodies, and how reggaeton is all of that coming together. So that's the reason that these conservatives do these types of things, is because they want to shackle America. They want to hold America back into the 18th century or the 19th century, and folks are moving forward. And when you have an individual like Bad Bunny, who is about trying to bring folks together, it scares them. The last thing that I'll say is they didn't say anything in 2012 when Madonna was rolling around on the stage. They didn't say anything about the Stones in 2006, and they didn't say anything about Justin Timberlake in 2018. Because, you know, those folks, even though they are creatives and they're great in their own ways, they probably could see themselves reflected in those individuals, and they couldn't see themselves reflected in all those amazing Latino and Latina performers who are on that stage.
See, the reason, but you got to understand, back then they didn't care about that. They didn't. Randy, all of this is all since 2020. 2020, J-Lo, Shakira, and Bad Bunny all performed. But remember, they were pissed off when Beyonce was there, when I think the game was in San Francisco, when the dancers had berets. Oh, my goodness. Is that for the Black Panthers, those berets? This is the whole deal. What Donald Trump has introduced, Donald Trump has brought back to the fore white identity. And these people are clear and open, and they don't care, and that's what this is about. It's about whiteness. Why did I write my book? And I called it. I've been saying this. 2009, I kept trying to tell people. I said, y'all, these people are operating from what I call white minority resistance. I said, it's about to be about white folk. That was in 2009. My book dropped in 2022. Everything that happened in those 13 years were about white identity. And Donald Trump has put white identity on steroids, and now they are open and free, and they care about whiteness, Randy, nothing else.
Somebody came out and said that the show wasn't white enough for them. They just came out. Usually they try to disguise it and say American, but someone said it wasn't white enough for them, and it went wild on Twitter. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, they were like,
right.
where are the white dancers? I'm like, oh, now y'all want quotas?
You want some DEI? No, they are terrified of the new landscape of America, and they do not see it as a place that is for everybody else. And so when we come out and we have Kendrick Lamar and we come out and we have Bad Bunny, they are terrified, and they're saying it's not American. Now, it's so interesting to me that here you have a sport where 60 to 70% of the players at one time are Black, and they're fine with that. And, you know, I said earlier, had they had people with Latin backgrounds serving in the stands and bringing them cervezas and selling them tacos, and they would have been fine with that. But when they are on the main stage, when they're saying that this is my country too, and I deserve all the light, and also we have a history here. Let me show you the real history and the culture that we have here. White people are terrified. I think what we're seeing now is how insecure of a people that many of them are, and that we make them feel absolutely inadequate, because people don't act like this unless they're terrified. And they recognize that this is the end of what they consider America, of what they see as the good old days, because the demographics are changing and people's attitudes are changing. So yeah, they are terrified, and they are worried that their whiteness, or what they consider to be American, is being fully diluted or polluted in their minds, polluted right now. And I love to see it. The angrier they are, the more tickled I am.
Yeah, check this out. This is, let me see if I can get this showing up right here. So Jill Zarin, who I don't give a shit. She's one of the Real Housewives of New York, a show you will never, ever see me watch. I despise all of those shows. She was really in her feelings about the halftime show. And check this out.
So we all agree, now we all agree, I agree, I said it before, that it was the worst halftime show ever. And it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States. And I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And quite frankly, I didn't need to see him grabbing his, G area. I think it was totally inappropriate. You've got all these young kids watching the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have to be grabbing himself every 5 seconds. Is he so insecure? Seriously, I didn't understand it. I don't speak Spanish. I would have liked to have known the words he was saying. To me, it looked like a political statement, because there were literally no white people in the entire thing. I think it was a political statement, and I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I just do. I think it was an ICE thing. And I just think that the NFL sold out, and it's very sad, because this was 75 years, and, shame. Shame. And Lady Gaga got a facelift. I didn't recognize her. I literally had to Google her face to see who it was, because we all couldn't agree who it was. So that was kind of fun in the middle of halftime. At least it gave me something to do, because it was so hard to watch.
Well, she got a lot of time on her hands now, y'all, because E-Network has fired her ass from the, are they supposed to do this Real Housewives reunion? Well, her ass got fired, Larry. See, F-A-F-O. Got that talking all that shit. And then it kind of like, okay, so she got lots of time on her hands now, Larry.
Yeah, she could just spend time kicking rocks now, because that's all she'll be able to do now that she's not going to be on this show, reunion show. Roland, I'm reminded in terms of the responses to, Bad Bunny and a lot of other stuff we've seen rooted in anti-Blackness over the last year plus. It reminds me of the Public Enemy album cover fear of a black planet, because whether people want to acknowledge it or not, and we certainly saw, yes, we saw it with the Super Bowl, is that Puerto Rican culture is shaped by its African roots. So I love the symbolism when opening up with the showing the sugarcane and some people working in the fields, because we have to talk about those who formerly enslaved individuals, our ancestors, wherever they were dropped off at, and the connection to colonialism and what it means to be Puerto Rican, and also from racial ethnic backgrounds in America today. Right. So there's a lot of symbolism, and these, all these halftime shows have symbolism throughout the years. This is not any different. It is the political moment that makes this different. And you're right. People are losing their minds. If it was, John Mellencamp or something like that, or whoever you want to think about, who's, some individuals might consider to be a true American, then those individuals, that we've highlighted this evening wouldn't have a problem with that. But once again, this is part of white fragility. In research, we talk about white fragility, and these things not rooted and centered within whiteness. And when you see that, we see we've dealt with over the last year plus in terms of the overall response. And this is why we are where we are politically.
John Mellencamp has come out and said he actually loved it. So they no longer.
Well, let's come up with somebody. Let's come up with somebody else besides John Mellencamp.
My point is they always use him because of his song "Small Town," and but the thing is they actually hate it if you're white and you don't agree with their frankly fundamentalist white Christian nationalism. And all you got to do is to see the freak out at Fox News. Here's that idiot Greg Gutfield. Listen to this.
It seems like kind of a big deal, considering that twice as many Puerto Ricans are in the United States as in Puerto Rico. So if the culture is so amazing, why are you coming here? And
this here, take y'all ass back to Europe.
Right.
Since y'all love Europe so much, take your ass back. I mean, this just goes to show you how crazy these people are. And so now what they're trying to do is, and here's another. This is Representative Mark Alford on that Real America's Voice right-wing network. Again, what they're trying to do is they want to use the government, the FCC, in order to attack what took place. Listen to this idiot.
The lyrics, from what we have seen from Bad Bunny, are very disturbing. And if it holds true that I don't speak fluent Spanish, okay? I know how to ask where the bathroom is, but these lyrics, if it is true what was said on national television, we have a lot of questions for the entities that broadcast this. And we'll be talking with Brendan Carr from the SEC about this. But this could be much worse than the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. Let's put it that way.
But at least that was a malfunction. I mean, this was apparently intentional.
This was intentional,
yeah,
yes.
And they could not have said this were it in English. So just the fact that we're at a place in our country where we had a fully not
wonk. No, but it's amazing. So y'all got time to investigate Bad Bunny, but y'all ain't got time to talk about them healthcare subsidies?
I mean, that's the part right there, Roland. You raised the most important part. You've got a committee on Capitol Hill that has the ability to actually help address so many issues that are going on across our country. Energy issues, right? So energy is one of their issues. And we know that the prices for electricity are becoming outrageous, but they don't do anything in that space. They also have some responsibility for healthcare, but yet they're allowing those to become astronomical as well. So my thing is, why don't you do your damn job and focus on the things that could actually help folks across this country and stop, worrying about these mythical things that you continue to try and blow up that have no relevancy whatsoever to everyday people's lives. And if you're not going to do that, then I don't even know why you're up there.
Well, it's because of one thing. They need the culture wars in order to win. All this is about is very simple. Anyone y'all can jump in. This is about November. They need something to gin up white people. Donald Trump's approval ratings, they're in the toilet. And they need to be able to get white folks fired up. I see this playbook as clear as day.
Roland, they've used that same playbook for years, and guess what? It's worked.
Yeah.
That's why they keep going back to it. It's like in sports, if you keep running a pick and roll, they can't stop it. Guess what? We'll run a pick and roll for 4 quarters until you do. So yeah, you're right. This is the same playbook. I've seen it. Mustafa has seen it. We worked on Capitol Hill. It has not changed. Anytime they can get, white people in America feel like your culture is at risk, or they're coming for you, they're coming for your jobs, they're coming for your daughters. It makes it very easy to get these folks motivated instead of focusing like a healthcare costs, groceries, and all the other challenges we're dealing with, our international issues, all the other issues we should be focused on as Americans. So once again, Roland, this playbook has worked over and over again for generations.
Randy, pure and simple, it is about race. They need white people to just be angry. Need them. Look at Randy Fine. Today would be a great day to round up and deport illegals, especially those who like Bad Bunny's filth. All of them, no exceptions. Guys, what are you doing? Come on. Can you show? Come on. Come on. Go to the iPad. Thank you very much. This is what he tweeted. Yeah, all of a sudden, they're so mad. Let's round up everybody. They are so angry that, again, it is whiteness on display, Randy. It's just pure whiteness.
They run on a platform of hate. Who can we make you hate and get riled up? They want them to vote against something and not for anything. They don't ever speak about policies. They never talk about what they're for or what they want to make happen. They just talk about who they are against. And so the way they do that is they make Black people seem like monkeys, and they make Latinos, all of them, regardless of their status, seem as if they're not supposed to be here in this country. They're illegal. They're aliens. They're criminals. They make other people come from shithole countries. They make queer people seem as if they're trying to take over your kids and harm them in some way. If they can dehumanize others, so white people feel as if they are the only true good people, patriots on this earth, then they have it made. And so they do every single day. They're trying to get white people outraged and feel as if they need to fight against all these evil beings. And evil beings, anybody who is not white and Christian, and fight against us. And that's what they're doing. It's a plan that has worked, and I think they're counting on it to work again. And white people walk around just completely fearful of everybody. And so the fact that they're spending so much time on, what was it, a 12-minute halftime show?
15 minutes.
They're creating this sort of outrage when we're talking about the president. It's, all the files that we're seeing and things, but they're worried about this 12-minute show.
Well, first of all, it was a 15-minute halftime show. That crap they put together was 35 minutes, and this is what they do. But again, what they try to get people to understand is, and this is where country music comes in, so they operate as if country music is all American, and if country music is really, about, apple pie and everything is perfect and wonderful and the flag. Charlie Crockett, country music singer, my man said that, country music artists, y'all should have been taking notes from Bad Bunny. This is what he said. They keep saying I'm a cosplay cowboy, but they love a cosplay president. Some folks have been on here calling Muhammad Ali a draft dodger when y'all got one in the White House. When I was at the Grammys the other night, I saw a guy get up and talk about Jesus. And then I saw Bad Bunny get up there and talk like Jesus. The country music establishment should be taking notes on a Puerto Rican American who hasn't forgotten his heritage and brought his culture's traditional music back to the front, showing the world something new with it. The president is a grifter who bankrupted 6 casinos. That's pretty extraordinary considering it's a rigged business in favor of the House. The only thing he's good at is filing lawsuits and portraying a successful businessman as a reality TV actor. Last time I checked, Elon Musk was an immigrant from South Africa, but there he is standing in the White House buying our elections. Let's deport his ass and send Peter Thiel back with him, since they both openly believe in a post-democratic society where men of their class are above the law. Forgive me if I have a problem with a 34-time convicted felon running this country when I lost the right to vote or own a weapon for years over marijuana. As long as you're hating the oppressed and loving your oppressor, You'll never know why our generation is poorer than our parents and grandparents. As a great man once said, it's welfare for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. If you can sleep at night licking their boots, that's between you and yours. But that type of thinking isn't freedom. It's mental slavery. Every single right we have as a people wasn't handed to us. We had to fight and take it. Judge a man by how he treats the poor and those who he views as being able to do nothing for him. Don't forget why Muhammad Ali said, "I am America." Remember the coal miners of Harlan County, Kentucky. I believe in what we can be. Right on. That was some serious truth right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was some truth.
Yeah, you know.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, it's good. Every once in a while, we get a little glimmer from folks. Obviously, mostly folks that look like us who speak truth to power, as Mustafa likes to say. But we need to hear more of that. But he called them out, and everything he made a great points. People are focused on some of the things that have nothing to do with your everyday life in terms of, whether you have enough gas in your car to get to work. Are your children safe at school? Or they have to worry about a mass shooting and all these other complicated issues that the House or the Senate is not really dealing with. And so we're all, people are focused on, going after, the NFL, NBC, et cetera, for this, with the Bad Bunny performance. And they can't, they're not focused on things that really matter, like I said, in terms of their everyday lives. But I'm really glad what he said, what he had to say. We need to hear more of that for folks that don't look like him, who are, country music artists, et cetera. But it's had to be said, and we need to continue to hear more of that.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Got to go to a break. We come back. More on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, including a North Carolina pastor speaking truth to these white conservative Christians. A lot for us to break down, folks. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to be able to do the stuff that we do, the coverage that we're doing. Our team is on their way as we speak to Raleigh, North Carolina for Bishop William Barber's 3-day march. And, of course, we'll be covering the big protest on Saturday. So to support our work, join the Bring the Funk fan club. Use Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. As for credit cards as well, checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. I went to the mailbox today, y'all. It's about 100+ envelopes, and so going through them, and then here are some others right here. These are all checks and money orders that I gotta sign the back, take a picture, and deposit. But I'm doing it. Literally, I'm doing a commercial break. Checks and money orders, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037 0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown, Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
A new report released today details how Donald Trump and Republican policies are actively worsening health outcomes for black folks. The report, Protect Our Care by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the National, first of all, there's several groups, the National Council of Negro Women and the National Urban League confirms the widening long-standing disparities in access to care and affordability. The report's findings, black Americans remain 1.5 times more likely to be uninsured than white folks. Black women are nearly 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than white women. Black Americans are 2.5 more times likely to be hospitalized for complications of diabetes. Black Americans are 30% more likely to die from heart disease and 30% more likely to have high blood pressure than their white counterparts. All right, let's get right into it. Dr. Lydia Isaac, the Vice President of Health Equity and Policy, the National Urban League, joins us from Brooklyn. Joy Cheney, Senior Advisor at Protect Our Care, joins us from D.C. Glad to have both of you here. Lydia, I'll start with you. So the report, you lay it out. Now, what do we do with it?
So I think one of the things we have to do is fight for what is impacting these disparities, right? Making sure that we fight for the policies that support our communities, which is talking about this, big ugly bill or big bad bill, whatever you want to call it. It's not a beautiful bill, H.R. 1, that is cutting services, health services, to the communities that we care about, to Black communities, Medicaid, ACA subsidies, SNAP, all these other things that are going to be cut after the midterms that impact the communities that we serve. And so understanding what the impact of those cuts are going to be on people's health, fighting, showing the impact, calling your senators and your representatives and saying that this is not going to work for our communities. So that's what we do, is showing people the impact of policy is not this esoteric thing that just happens. It's something that actually impacts people's daily lives. And your other segment you're talking about, we're not talking about the cost of food for people, where they're going to live, how they're going to get health insurance. When people are sick and don't have health insurance, how do you expect them to get the care they need to stay alive? We're literally talking about life and death here. And so we have to really push it to the folks that the impact of this is going to be deleterious to our community.
But Joy, Lydia said we have to fight it, but the bill's already passed. And so, yes, most of it doesn't take effect until after the midterms. Okay, so how are people being organized and mobilized to fight this? It's one thing to say call, but I'm talking about I need to understand, what is the campaign? What is the action?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm so glad to be on this side of the interview. Usually I'm there as a commentator, so thanks for having me and Lydia on. One of the things we're asking people to do, obviously, we want people to engage with their members of Congress. We just talked about the big, beautiful bill, but keep in mind the tax credits issue, which was such a significant issue that we had a government shutdown on it. Even though we're not talking about it, it's still a live issue. We are still seeing people who are falling off the health insurance rolls because the health insurance premiums are skyrocketing due to the end of the tax credits. What we found is, the Republican Party, Trump, is not so much of a partisan thing, but they do not have an answer for it. So, we have to be honest about that. They don't have an answer for it. They have no solution. They're allowing these tax credits to fold at a time where we are seeing hospital closures due to the big, beautiful bill all over the country in almost all congressional districts. This is a healthcare crisis, and we're seeing it in the African-American community. But as we know, we're canaries in the minefield in this community, and it's something that we're experiencing everywhere. So we've got to be putting pressure on our members of Congress to say, first of all, we need you to reverse big, beautiful bill, but even the bill that's upcoming, we need you to focus on extending those tax credits. Congresswoman Lauren Underwood has a bill that is in the Senate right now that could extend for 3 years the tax credits. That's by a CBC member. That's the work that Black people are doing. And so we wanted to highlight, the opportunity costs that are here, that what the Trump administration is doing to healthcare. And that's not to say anything of public health. We have a rise in measles.
Okay. Here's my whole point, and this is, I understand all of that, but this is highlighting and letting people know, okay, this is what the numbers are. That's one thing. But if we're talking about moving people to action, okay, what is that? What's the site? What's the script? Who do we target? Who are the critical? It's in the Senate. Okay, so we know you got X is 53-47. Okay,
yeah.
So the question now becomes, all right, you got to get to 60. Okay, how do we get to 60? Who are the 13 senators Republican senators being targeted? What is the plan of action to say, here's the data, but in order for us to get this, to pass Representative Underwood's bill in the Senate, this has to happen. What I'm asking, what is that? Where is that? Is it on a site? What memes would be posting? What language? Because coming on, listen, there are thousands watching right now. What I keep getting from people across the country, they want a sense of direction, what to do, where to go. And I'm saying, where's that information right now?
ProtectOurCare.org has a lot of information about this, fact sheets, information that you need that will help you engage on the ground. So if you go to our website, if you follow any of our social media, I believe that's being put in the chat, you'll be able to follow us there. So
okay,
don't worry about that. We have solutions for you.
Okay, so I'm on the website right now, and lays out urgent threat. Okay, and it has all the information on here. And so now, what I see
shows you where hospital closures are happening.
Right. So what I see at the bottom is it says, "Don't let politicians take away your health care. Sign up to learn more about how to support our work." What I dare say, again, as I look at this, and we're talking about, so let's see, we've got about us up there. So okay, fine. Let me click resources, and as you see, okay, so it breaks out all these different things here. You got videos. You've got share your story. Okay, people can actually share their story. Let me go back up here. Okay, you got giving, donate, and okay, you got first. So I'll ask people in the chat already asking. So if they're donating, what are they donating to?
So this isn't so much about donating to us. This is about you using this information and working on the ground.
Oh, no, I know. No, I'm just asking because while we're talking, I'm looking at the chat. So someone asked, what the donations, what is that for?
So we're not here asking for donations for ourselves. This is about giving you information about what's going on in our healthcare system. That's our job, right? That's our educational job. That's our C4 job, right? That's what we're doing. We're giving you the information you need, and the National Urban League are giving you the information you need, NAACP and NCNW as well, to make sure you understand what's happening. And let me just add, when you talk about the rollbacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion that this administration has been doing, that just doesn't impact workforce. It impacts research. So we're talking about decades down the line, research and data that is being lost for the Black community that we will have to then somehow try to make up for, but that will end up in us not having the resources we need in order to combat the diseases that are impacting our community and all Americans. And so that information is really critical. So we'll hope you look at our report to get that, but then also to put it in action, to call your members of Congress and to vote on these issues.
Well, I think first, Lydia, I'm gonna let you say this. I think what's critical was critically important. Again, and I always look at this here, is I look at I always talk about what's micro, macro, and what is short-term, long-term, and short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So I dare say of what y'all laid out, what is short-term is putting pressure on the Senate to move that Lauren Underwood bill, which means if you've got 47, so y'all would know this, I would assume all 47 Democratic United States senators are on board with that.
Yes, which needs 60.
That means that we need to get to 60. So
that's right.
The question is, and this is how it was helpful for me when I'm speaking to the audience of social media, who are the 13 senators that are being targeted to get to 60?
So we have, so that's not, there are 13 senators, but really it's all of the Republican caucus.
No. Here's my whole point. Here's my whole point. You got to get to 60.
It's the Senate Majority Leader getting Senator Thune to make his caucus put this as a priority is what we really need. And then the chips, like other members, will follow suit. Doing that is critically, critically important. And of course, getting the president, putting pressure, making sure. The reason we even got to the position where we were making some deals and you had Republicans join Lauren Underwood in the House was because people all over the country, including through Protect Our Care events on the ground and National Urban League and NAACP and NCNW, were putting pressure on them to say this is an important issue to us.
Yeah, they were putting pressure on Republicans in swing districts who are afraid of their job. That's what I'm saying, but that was a targeted effort. Lydia, you want to make a point? Go ahead.
I mean, we kind of beyond the point, but the point is that putting pressure on your elected official is actually what's swinging it. So if you know that you're in a state in which your elected official doesn't normally vote or has not voted or has voted against this, that's the person you put pressure on and say, this is impacting my life. One of the things that we hear that elected officials are saying is like, oh, we're not hearing the stories. So tell them the stories and show them what it is how this is impacting. That's what's going to swing them to not only change their vote if they voted against it, but also encourage others, as Joy said, within the caucus to say, hey, this is really impacting my constituents. Right. I think from the question, it seems like, oh, well, what am I going to do? You got to put pressure on those people.
Right. But this is what I'm saying. Lydia, you, Joy, myself, Randy, Larry, Mustafa. Listen, we live and operate in public policy every single day. Okay, we live and breathe this. I'm talking about we have to. Joe Manchin will always say we got to put it where the goats can get it. And that is talking to regular, everyday people to make it where they also understand it. And so, again, I get it. Hold on. I get it. Hey, the whole Republican caucus. But here's what I also know. What was successful in the House, there were very targeted efforts to certain Republicans. And so I just think what would be helpful is if this group says, here's the 13 we're targeting, the 15 we're targeting. So you target 15 and 2 don't get it, should get to 60. Now all of a sudden, we are marshaling forces. I would think Tom Tillis in North Carolina is one of those 13. He's not running for re-election. Right. Okay, I would think because of what I've heard from the farmers, Joni Ernst in Iowa, who's not running for re-election, is going to be one of those 13. But really laying out and say, this is what we're targeting because, frankly, I'm not going to spend energy on somebody in Idaho, but if we can get people who can have their energy focused, in certain states, I think is important. Panelists have their questions right now. Mustafa, you first.
Yeah, well, it's good to see both of you. I'm curious also, what role do you see the philanthropic family playing in helping to support this initiative or these initiatives?
Well, I mean, I'm sure I speak for Lydia when I say there is simply not enough research and resources for those of us who are doing this work. Although, because the American people are very much focused on healthcare, and this issue polls very well. It is a kitchen table issue that Americans are dealing with day in and day out. There have been resources put here, but we always need more. The insurance companies, the other, for-profit industries within the pharmaceutical companies, they have a lot more resources than we do. So we have to make sure we are getting out there and we are making sure Democrats and Republicans know this is a critical issue for us and we need resources to do it.
Mm-hmm. I think many.
Randy, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say health foundations have said.
Go ahead. Lydia, then Randy.
Foundations are not going to get us out of this. Go ahead.
Then Randy.
As a DEI professional, I really want you to talk so people understand about how DEI being rolled back affects our health ultimately, because I know how we weren't even included when they did medical studies to know, how to treat us. So why do we have higher blood pressure and what are the best ways to combat it? But if you could say more about that, I think that would be really helpful.
Randy, I think that's right. I mean, we talk about it in the report. We were already at a deficit, right? Even when Democrats were in power, and making sure that African Americans, Latinos, that other people were included in studies, right? And that there was deep research there, and that we had an investment in culturally competent personnel and care. So we already knew that, but we were getting better. A lot of research was put into it, a lot of resources put into it by the federal government aimed at closing health disparities, particularly in the African American community. All of that was ended within the first 100 days of the Trump administration. The rollbacks, who they fired, what research was restricted in NIH, closing the offices or repurposing the offices of minority health in all the agencies. That had a tremendous, not only immediate impact on African American communities, but like I was saying before, when you look into the future and you look at the opportunity costs, it is tremendous. And we know that, as even as we're looking what's happening with vaccines and RFK's, disastrous record on there, we know that that will disproportionately impact our communities in seeding distrust, making vaccines harder to get. So we see that the rollback on so-called DEI, I say it out, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is not a flippant thing. It is a real thing that will have healthcare, life and death consequences for our community.
Thank you.
Larry?
Can I add something to that, Roland? Because I think it's important.
Yeah, Lydia, go ahead.
It's not just about what's going to happen forward. When you have researchers who are similar to the folks that they're trying to think about, they ask different questions, right? So what gets researched is also very different when you have people who have the lived experiences, who are part of those communities. And so we're going to lose a whole body of understanding and research and thoughts about what's happening in these communities, because those researchers will not have the support that they had. So it's not just about setting us back, it's about the questions. Because remember, science is science is not unbiased. We're all people. We all ask questions in different ways based on our experiences. But being able to ask the right questions to figure out what's going on is what the skill of a diverse workforce in all kind of ways happens. And when you don't have that workforce, you don't ask the right questions. And so you cannot find the right answers.
Larry?
Yeah, so this research is really critical. I wanted you to talk about how do we take this and get people to the polls, and also secondly, put it in the right hands of individuals. Can you talk about that a little bit? It's important research, particularly how it impacts the Black community. How do we translate that to getting people out to vote?
Yeah, well, I will tell you, if you look in our report, we have data from North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Ohio, Tennessee, right? All critical states where we talk about, frankly, the reduction in enrollment, the change in enrollment under this administration. And so, and part of that's due to the tax credits and other issues. So we are hoping and using that research to sort of drive people, right? To say that what you are experiencing as an individual and as a family is something that's happening on a mass level, and it's something you can actually do something about, right? It changed in this administration. It can change the other way as well. So we will be on the ground. Protect Our Care is in many states where we are on the ground working with state and local electeds and partners on the ground. So like all the partners that we're doing this report with, they have chapters, units that are on the ground, partnering with them and others to reach communities in place, trusted voices within those communities who can encourage people to act on this issue and also to go to the polls on this issue.
Question. How long is the report?
How long is the report? Ooh, I think under 20 pages. I think 12 pages. 12 pages.
Okay. So,
and there's an executive summary.
Okay. And again, I'm just speaking strictly from a media perspective on how to drive messaging on this to achieve the desired goal. The public ain't gonna read your report.
Absolutely, and that is why we have social media.
Right. So
that will accompany the report.
Gotcha. So where's that social media? What is it?
If you go to Protect Our Care, @Protect Our Care, across all your social media platforms, and I've shared them. I believe they're going to be shared in the chat across IG, Facebook.
No. Everybody who's watching out in the chat. So it's protect. Right. It's first of all. It's protect. Oh no. No, it's not. It's protect.our.care. That's what it is on Instagram. So I just want to make sure people follow that. Now, here's what I think, and I'm looking on the feed right now, and okay. So for instance, I see this 4-slide graphic, perfect. South Carolina and measles. That to me, I think taking that right there and developing that into those memes or whatever the heck makes it a lot easier. I still go back to this here. What I think would be also helpful is if y'all identify 15 Republicans. This is what the DCCC did last year. And then it was focused on, this was actually 25. Go to my iPad. Where they targeted, said these are 2026 districts that are in play. This was helpful for me to show this graphic on the air and for people to see this graphic, to see the names, and they had the bottom tell them to say Medicaid, and here was the phone number, and that was the house number. That will be helpful. So now when we say, hey, we want to get this, so when people say, what can I do? First, we want to extend the health care subsidies of the Affordable Care Act. It's already passed the House. We need the Senate to pass it. We need 60 votes. We need to flip 13 Republicans. Here are the 15 that we suggest you target. Boom. Now the person is not sort of just trying to figure out what I need to do. So, like, this graphic will be really helpful, and we can show this on the show every day, like, target these people. Hit their office phone in D.C., hit their Senate districts, their Senate phone numbers in those states, hit them with emails, and now we can have a very targeted effort to put pressure on them to get to 60. Now, once we get the subsidies bill passed, then it's like, okay, what's next? So am I correct that trying to get her bill is the first priority as we speak right now, right?
Got to get that bill done, yes.
Gotcha. I think having that kind of graphic or whatever driven on social media and then get to us, and now people can share on their platforms, and now it's spreading like wildfire. That, to me, I think is helpful for people to go, okay, now this is what I need to do. Now we can focus them on this one thing to say, for the next 30 days, blow those phones up and emails, let's get this done.
I love it. And let me tell you what, we came to you first, Roland. This is an exclusive that we wanted to share with Roland Martin and Filtered in the Black Star Network, because we know that you are a trusted voice in the Black community, and we wanted to get it out to you first.
Well, I appreciate it. And hold up, I'm also on the site. You said people can read the report. Where exactly is the report on the site?
The report is coming out tomorrow. So the report will be out tomorrow. It's being released. Like I said, you got the early, scoop.
Because I'm looking for it. I'm like, I don't see the report. Y'all keep talking about it.
You got the scoop. You got the scoop.
Okay, all right. So the report will be available on the on protectourcare.org. That's the website. Yes. And if y'all put in Protect Our Care on social media, you'll actually see how it is on each one of the social media platforms. All right.
And we'll also make sure it's up on our partners' websites as well.
All right. Sounds good. We appreciate it. Let's focus on getting that bill passed. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right. The thing there, and folks who are watching, y'all have listened. In the 7 years we've done this show, y'all know just how my brain works. Bishop Barber is always on. We talk about this all the time. And I know Larry, Mustafa, Randy, y'all are out, and people, you might be in a restaurant, be traveling somewhere. All kind of people are always asking, saying, I want to do something. I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. And the thing is, we can't just leave it up to folks, because folks literally don't know. They have no idea where to call. They don't know what the main number is to the U.S. House or the United States Senate. And so this is where, when we're talking about putting these efforts together, remember I said the same thing to Nina and Jamal when it came to Target boycott. People have to, it's like, we got to walk folk through and explain them what we need them to do. And the first thing we need them to do is get that bill, Underwood's bill in the House, get it passed in the Senate. But we got to have targeted action. I'm not going to waste energy calling somebody who I know is a hardcore no. Guess what? Tom Cotton in Arkansas, hardcore no. So my deal is, okay, now, do we want people to call in Tom Cotton's office? Yes. But put the pressure on those 15 to get us the 13 to get to 60, I think has to happen. Mustafa, you first.
I mean, that's the way that we do it. You know, in my advocacy work, we try to keep things to maybe 3 points of what we want folks to be able to do. Of course, the first part is always to make sure that people have the basic education that they need to be comfortable and being able to reach out to an office and to know what to ask for. Of course, the second part is to be targeted with whom you're going to have a conversation with or an ask. And then the third part is to make sure that you're circling back around to make sure that folks follow through and to let them know that if they don't, that of course there will be some form of repercussions. So, and all the work that I've done, these decades down on the ground with folks, you keep it simple. That's why I appreciate you bringing Joe's, lesson to us forward, put it where the goats can get it, because oftentimes people overcomplicate this stuff. It's very simple. You just got to make sure the folks are comfortable enough to be able to follow through.
Larry, look, you worked on Capitol Hill, and you've seen what public pressure campaigns look like.
Yeah, I have, Roland. And one of the things we used to do is sometimes you just need a simple script, A, B, C, and D. Just do these things in terms of, supporting, specific legislation. And you have to make it as easy as possible. And you talked about it. Listen, the folks on this, having this conversation, we're knee deep in this policy stuff. And, many of us have been for years. But for the average person that, is working a 9 to 5, they don't have time to keep up with what's going on. Maybe they watch a show, they see the report. And like you said, the question you pose in terms of what can individuals do? And that's why I asked my question as relates to the importance of the research, but how do you translate that into action, ultimately getting people out to vote, certainly in some special elections, but also in November, because, we really need to hold people accountable and make sure these issues that are continuously impacting the Black community and improve, and don't have to worry about, we see this larger gap between like Black and white women in terms of like things relating to pregnancy-related deaths. So we need to do more in terms of having a simple script, which we used to do back in the day, to make it easier for people.
Randy, I'm telling you, I meet with a lot of people all the time, and when folk come to me and they like, hey, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, and I listen to all that, I go, all right, what's your plan? How you gonna do it? How you gonna reach people? And a lot of people get really frustrated when I'm hitting them with the questions, but the reality is, all right, after you've explained to people, hey, here's the issue, here's the problem, here's what's going on. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? And that's the thing for me, we got to keep pressing people so they understand, what do I do? And so that's how we have to be driving this conversation.
Yeah, people oftentimes forget the call to action. Once you've explained the problem, told people its significance, you've made it personal for them. It's always important to make it personal to people. This is how it's going to affect you and your family. And then you talk about the solution and the goal. You have to give people a plan, and we want it. That's the thing. I think most people really want to make a difference and a change. Of course, we're all busy, we're distracted, we have a lot going on. But if someone tells me, we need you to call this person 3 times a day, or 3 times a week at this number, and this is what you need to say, then it will get done. So make it as simple for people as you possibly can. That's all we need.
Make it simple, but also give them the clear and concise directions so they can take it from there. That's what we got to do. All right, y'all, going to a quick break. Actually, you know what? We're going to a break. Let's go right to Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
A United Auto Workers employee who called President Donald Trump a pedophile protector during Trump's visit to the Ford F-150 plant in Dearborn, Michigan, will keep his job. That's despite the president's objections. Ford initially suspended Thomas T.J. Sebula after the comment, which referenced Trump's past association with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. But Sebula launched a fundraising effort that raised more than $800,000, and the union says he will not be fired. UAW Vice President Laura Dickerson confirmed that while Trump had demanded Sebula be terminated, the incident will not be placed in his personnel file. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility programs will continue in Minnesota. This comes after Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison settled a lawsuit with the Trump administration. That lawsuit was filed after a federal directive warning states that they could lose education funding unless they eliminated diversity-related initiatives in school. Minnesota is now one of 19 states that will get the federal funding, regardless of whether DEIA programs remain in place. It comes as the state has also challenged the Trump administration over increased immigration enforcement in Minnesota, including in and around some public schools. A new report from the Government Accountability Office finds that the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights failed to adequately enforce civil rights protections in schools while wasting millions of dollars of taxpayer money. According to the report, nearly half of the office's staff were laid off last year, and as a result, the agency dismissed nearly every discrimination complaint it received. The GAO says the Office for Civil Rights dismissed nearly 90% of complaints before any investigation, and between March 11th and September 23rd of 2025, the office received more than 9,000 discrimination complaints and dismissed more than 7,000. The report also found the office's layoff and restructuring plans cost taxpayers between $28.5 million and $38 million without improving efficiency. Legal Defense Fund Senior Policy Counsel Hamida Lapi issued the following statement in part. This congressional watchdog report confirms what we already knew to be true. Over the past year, the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights has abandoned its duty to enforce our nation's civil rights laws and ensure Black students and other students of color have access to a high-quality public education free from discrimination. Plans to lay off half of the agency have proven to be expensive, a distraction, wasting tens of millions of taxpayer dollars while allowing thousands of students' discrimination complaints to go uninvestigated. The report reveals that nearly 90% of cases were dismissed before investigation, a rate that is unacceptable and denies students the justice they deserve. Well, the Trump administration is appealing a court decision that allows Haitian immigrants with temporary protected status to remain in the United States. Government attorneys filed the notice of appeal to the Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia February 5th. Federal Judge Anna Reyes ruled on February 2nd to keep the TPS designation for Haiti in place, which was set to expire on February 3rd. The notice of appeal requests Reyes pause her order allowing TPS to remain in place. But according to the Columbus Dispatch, an estimated 350,000 Haitian immigrants are believed to be in the United States, with 150,000 residing in Springfield, Ohio. Well, Oklahoma tribal leaders accuse Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents of racially profiling tribal citizens amid Operation Guardian Sweep on reservations. Leaders say they only learned of ICE operations on the reservations through social media reports by tribal citizens, rather than being informed by federal officials. ICE has been accused by tribal officials of stopping, questioning, and in some cases detaining Native people on their own land. Leaders are telling citizens to remain vigilant and to carry tribal identification along with any state or federally issued ID. In a news release, Governor John Raymond Johnson of the absentee Shawnee tribe warned tribal citizens to be prepared, saying in part, "It is unquestionably unconstitutional and illegal for any government officer to stop you, detain you, or question you without either a reasonable suspicion or probable cause that you have committed some kind of crime. It is especially unconstitutional for an officer or agent to do so based solely on your physical appearance." Roland.
All right, folks, let's go to a break. We come back. White Pasture, Laser on the Line, North Carolina, plus our Shop Black Star Network Marketplace segment. That's after this. Back in a moment.
My brothers and my sisters, this is Bishop William J. Barber II, and I'm coming to you with an urgent call from repairers of the breach and all of our partners. From Wednesday, February the 11th to Saturday, February the 14th, it's time to love forward together. We are mobilizing from Wilson to Raleigh. This is a call to all who love voting rights, love justice and truth, who believe in health care for all, living wages, labor rights, and caring for every person in our communities, who believe in life and not shooting people down in the street. We march each morning, February the 11th, 12th, 13th at 9 a.m., beginning at St. James Christian Church in Wilson, North Carolina. And on February the 14th, we gather at Shaw University, march down Fayetteville Street, and we have a rally right there at 10 o'clock a.m. Join us for the Love Forward Together Mass People's Assembly and Moral March mobilization. Visit breachrepairers.org for everything you need to register. This is William J. Barber II, paid for by Repairers of the Breach.
Hey everybody, I'm T.D. Jakes, and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
A white North Carolina pastor stood in his pulpit on Sunday and delivered a sermon all conservatives need to hear. Lauren Livingston, pastor of Central Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, laid it on the line. His message, being a conservative does not make you a Christian. Watch.
Well, I might as well do it. And I know some of you are all excited. You know, you've heard about the horrible halftime show that's coming. Some of you are all excited because Turning Point USA has an alternative halftime show. Can you tell me the difference between the two shows? The alternative is supposed to be for America. But the people entertaining are foul-mouthed, lost, degenerate people. I've heard them sing. They are filthy. Their mouths are filthy. And that's the alternative? You're trying to tell me that we have an alternative? Folks, the world can't give me an alternative. I've already met Jesus. Don't try to offer me an alternative. And while I'm at it, I'm going to say what I feel right here. I wish the President of the United States would clean up his language. I wish he would stop insulting people. A leader should not give himself to insulting people all the time and using foul language. And while I'm at it, I'm going to finish. Everybody in the White House cusses except two women that say they're born again, but they're all foul-mouthed. Let me tell you what the Bible says. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Listen, don't you dare get being conservative mixed up with being a Christian. Conservative does not mean Christian. You can be pro-life, you can be pro-biblical family, you can be pro-Israel and die and go to hell. You can be all of that stuff. That does not make you a Christian. Folks, I am a Christian. I'm not a white Christian. You're not a black Christian. I'm not in a white evangelical movement. There's no such thing as a black church. We are one in Christ. There is neither male nor female. There is neither black or white or slave or poor. We are all one in Jesus Christ. No, go ahead and praise the Lord. Don't talk about the people that represent you. They don't represent me. I got one representative. And he's the one that said to me a long time ago, will you go with this man? I said, I'll go with this man. And that's the man I've been going with. And I don't care about any other men. Nobody can save me. Nobody can redeem me. Nobody can bless me. Nobody can make me happy but this man.
I bet you Donald Trump and Paula White ain't inviting him to the White House, Randy.
No, I think that he should not look for an invitation to anything. The truth social people, yeah, no, he's not going to get an invitation, but he told the truth. He let him get told because some of these people think because they're conservative and living out the devil's plan, it seems like to me every day, they're still Christian.
Mustafa?
And they're not.
Malcolm once said, I'm for truth no matter who tells it. I'm for justice no matter who it's for or against. And those words resonate with me when watching this minister just call it out and tell it like it T.I. is, as my mama says, because they need to hear it, right? Because folks continue to follow these false idols. They make parties their God. They make presidents their God. And that's not what this is supposed to be about if you're truly a spiritual person, if you're truly in touch with a higher being. So I'm glad that he put it out there. Now the question becomes, did he find fertile ground? And will those words actually take root in individuals who've lost themselves and continue to follow a path that is not full of righteousness, that is not full of addressing humanity, and that unfortunately has been full of hate?
Larry, he's also the same preacher who went off on that Donald Trump Bible that has the Donald Trump Lee Greenwood Bible that has the Constitution in it. That's the same guy, and he went off on that.
Yeah, he did, Roland, and he needs to take this act on the road. I mean, he needs to speak to more of his, fellow clergymen and people in these congregations throughout the United States to get the message through about, like I said, being a Christian and conservative is not the same thing, particularly when we talk about white nationalists. And that's the problem we're dealing with at core in terms of this country. And it's really important that he, like I said, he conveyed that message to his flock, so to speak. But we need to hear more white male Christian pastors talk like that.
Absolutely. All right, folks, time for Shop Black Star Network Marketplace segment. Now, how many times have you been told by folks that you need to have more nuts in your diet? Peanuts. Oh, people say, oh, no, what about that? Walnuts, almonds, pecans. I'll be honest with y'all. I can't stand, for the longest, I couldn't stand nuts. I couldn't stand how they tasted. And a lot of times they were dry as hell. But our next guest, they say they have this sweet treat. Black-owned company, straight out of Texas, that'll fix your cravings. TC's Pieces of Love Gourmet Pecans, created by Charlotte Allen, takes handcrafted pecans and packs them with bold flavors and a whole lot of heart. So whether you're hunting for the perfect holiday gift or just looking to level up your snack game, this is definitely the one to try. All right, so Charlotte joins us right now. Charlotte, you got a guest with you?
I do. I have my husband and co-owner, Tyrus Allen.
All right. They didn't have your name in here, so that's why I didn't know. Now, y'all in Kaufman, Texas?
Yes, sir.
All right. For the folk who don't know where that is, what's the closest big city?
So Kaufman is about 35 miles east of Dallas. It's right past Forney, Texas, which is the booming city right now.
Girl,
right in between.
Girl, you know damn well Forney, Texas ain't booming. how you gonna say Kaufman near Forney? Somebody walking like, I don't know what no Forney is. All right.
Where Forney is. Well, most people know where Terrell is because that's where Jamie Foxx is from.
They don't know what Terrell is. They don't know. They don't know. We got you. You're 35 miles from Dallas. All right, let's talk about it. So I'm sitting here. I'm looking at Texas peach whiskey pecans. I've got bourbon pecans. How many different flavors do y'all have? Let me see here. Let me reach over here. All right, what's this?
We have 6 different flavors.
You said 6 different flavors?
We have 6 different flavors.
Okay,
we have original, a praline.
Right.
We have a sugar-free.
Yep.
We have a spicy, a bourbon, and the Texas peach whiskey.
Okay, so clearly my staff must have been in here eating the damn pecans because you said, okay, let me explain something y'all in the control room. Don't eat shit till after they've been on the show, okay? She just said they got 6. Why the hell I only got 4 in here, okay? That's why I'm like, what you talking about 6? So, well, again, I have Texas peach whiskey, bourbon, sugar-free, and praline. So tell me, Charlotte, what am I missing that staff clearly ate?
You're missing the original, you're missing the spicy, and you're also missing the butter pecan fudge and the turtles, the clusters, pecan clusters.
So these 3 empty spaces right here is a dead giveaway. So before we continue the interview, let me be real clear to everybody work here. Don't you eat a damn thing until after the guests have been on the show. Because I look silly sitting here counting 4, and supposed to be a lot more pecans here. But Charlotte, y'all go ahead and explain to me the pecans that I'm missing.
Well, we have formulated a recipe for each of the pecans. We were traveling, and we wanted to make sure that we had something that was very simple, very light for people to eat.
and we were just going to do them as a travel snack. And when we got to Utah with our family, they wanted to purchase them. And we had been giving them away, and people kept asking for them. So obviously, we decided to do a business.
Hold on, slow down. Y'all were on y'all way to Utah to visit family. Y'all know it's only about 12 black people in Utah.
I know.
And they were 2 of 12.
So y'all were traveling, and you don't like for instance, there's this one company, they make these pecans, but there is tons of sugar in it. And so like you go in and that's part of the deal. So folks, you're trying to eat healthy, you're not trying to eat chips, you're not trying to eat cookies, but when you're, listen, I travel a lot. So whether it's driving, whether it's flying, and you sitting there, you want a snack, and you don't want to sit here, eat something. But when you do see that bag of pecans, bottom line is packed with sugar, even though they got cranberries and other stuff in it. And so that was the impetus for y'all putting this together.
Absolutely. I'm a diabetic as well. And so we're always looking for something that is healthy, but tastes good without any sugar.
And we actually have a sugar-free that actually doesn't taste like sugar-free at all. It doesn't have that aftertaste.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when we introduce it, they frown up and say, hey, sugar-free, I don't like sugar-free. But once they taste it, they realize that it doesn't have that aftertaste. And it's really good. That's like one of our top sellers.
And it doesn't spike the blood sugar.
There you go.
That's the biggest.
Well, greedy ass staff didn't eat the sugar-free. So that's the yeah.
And there was actually addressed to you.
I know. And let me be real clear. See, again, and it's not like they didn't know it, but see, the problem is, this is what happens when you get busted. I was supposed to fly to Arlington this morning, but I chose to fly tomorrow. And so they thought, he's not going to be here, so we can go ahead and eat the stuff, and he not going to know it's gone because he's not going to be here.
Wow.
And so
they busted.
Now they busted. And so now I shall reiterate, don't y'all touch or eat nothing, nada, not a thing ever again. And if you do, I'm docking pay. And remember, I got cameras in the whole studio, so I will see who snatched the food. Let's go to questions from our panel. Let's see here. Well, Randy, she always eating, so I'm gonna go ahead and let her ask the question. So she always eating.
Hello, home team. I'm people from Mount Pleasant, Texas. Mount Pleasant, Texas, in your neck of the woods. Yes. And so when I was I go to Mount Pleasant all the time, we had pecan trees. I want to know how you open the daggone things. Do you have a machine or something? Because pecans are hard to open.
Well, actually what we do is we actually buy them wholesale from a company out of Dallas, and they actually get them from West Texas. We actually buy them by the pound. So that makes it a whole lot easier.
Okay.
No, and we actually tried that. We actually tried the machine. We had lots of people wanting to give us pecans. And so we tried to take them and have them shelled. And then it wasn't cost effective because it didn't shell them very well. And so we had to go back through them and that kind of thing. So we just decided to purchase them from a wholesaler.
Cool.
Well, makes sense.
Larry?
Yeah, can you talk about the science of creating, all the different flavors you highlighted?
Absolutely. The very first flavor we had was just the original. It was just spiced pecans. Have them around the house just for people to have as snacks. And then we felt like, let's branch out. Let's do something different. People want variety. And so we started with the praline. Tyrus lived in New Orleans for about 30 years. So that kind of appealed to our New Orleans family. And so then, again, I'm a diabetic. So I wanted to create something that not only tasted good, but didn't have that aftertaste, didn't taste sugar-free, didn't taste like cardboard. And so we created the sugar-free. And then people started giving suggestions about whiskey and some of the alcohol flavors. So we take those, we infuse those, we actually infuse them for 24 hours. And then we cook those and mix those up as well. We are expanding to different things, including our sugar-free clusters that we now have. We've been sending them out, perfecting that recipe, have taste testers. So we're just we call it in the lab. So when we get a new flavor, someone asks us about a new flavor, or we just kind of have an inkling to play around in the kitchen. We're just always experimenting.
Mustafa.
Well, you just mentioned the whiskey. I'm curious, for the whiskey and the bourbon, if you eat too many of those, will you get twisted?
No. Actually, once we do soak them for 24 hours and we actually cook them, we put them in the oven. It actually the heat actually burns the alcohol off. You just get the actual taste. Now you have to probably drink a bottle of bourbon or whiskey to get that feeling, but
don't give them no ideas. Don't give them no ideas. Now y'all have two different. So you have the canister, but you also have two different sizes. So so they want to buy the big bag or the smaller bag?
They can. We actually have 3 different sizes. We have another size as well.
What happened? The staff, did the staff greedy asses eat that? Okay, I'm just go ahead. So y'all got the extra. Y'all got the super large bag. So is that called large? This is medium, and this is small.
Yeah, this is actually a 1 pound bag that I have here. The one that you have, the medium size is actually an 8 ounce, and then we actually have the 4 ounce that's in your hand.
And the 4 ounce one is just one that we give out complimentary. Usually when people order, we'll just kind of throw that in just as a thank you for supporting a small Black business.
Okay. All right, then. Greedy ass Carol just got my into they are good. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Yeah, since they already ate the doggone things, which will not happen again. So, folks, if y'all want to check it again, so I'm looking at the bourbon. This is the Texas peach whiskey. Texas peach whiskey. Sugar-free. Then, of course, the original. I'm surprised with Black folks, y'all ain't got no Hennessy pecans.
We're working on it.
Someone has asked. Several people have asked. So
I know they asked. I know they did.
So we are working on that one.
All right, then. Folks, if y'all want to check out these flavored pecans, Texas made, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Again, shopblackstarnetwork.com. TC's Piece of Love. Check it out. You see it right there. All the products are on shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can buy directly from the website. And again, when you support those products, you also are supporting this show as well. Hey, I appreciate y'all being on the show. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And as usual, my dad's sitting there sending me texts during the show like I'm not working, talking about bring me some of that tomorrow. I'm like, really? Lord, have mercy.
Roland, I want to share something with you. My cousin lived right down the street from your parents.
Oh, really?
Live right around the corner from your parents. So if you need some, just give us a call.
Tell your cousin to bring them some pecans. All right, all right then. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Y'all be sure to go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com for TC's Pieces of Love pecans. Again, pull it up again, please. Pull it up again. Let's go. Y'all a little slow. Thank you very much. Let's go. Go right there. Now, you can get that product, all the other products that we have as well on shopblackstarnetwork.com. These are all Black-owned companies, and this is about supporting those companies and the work that they do. And so that's why we do this. And again, when you support them, you are supporting us as well. And so we appreciate it. Folks, that is it for us. Let me thank Larry. Let me thank Always Eating Randy. Let me thank Mustafa as well. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, if y'all want to support the work that we do, please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. As I said, you know, I'm sitting right here. The people who've been sending us checks and money orders, I'm depositing them, literally been depositing them during the show. And so, but if you want to go use electronic methods, which makes it a lot easier, but hey, we appreciate everybody who contributes no matter what. Please do so. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, the Stripe QR code. That's for credit, for Cash App, and for credit cards. And so you can contribute there. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can also download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Again, you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Get our merchandise, our t-shirts. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman. And also Black-owned Media Matters, all of our good stuff. You can get it right there. Pull that camera shot out, y'all, of the products over there so we can see the banner. Again, folks, we've got all of our stuff, our black-owned products. You also are available at shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can see all of those right there. We got tons of different products. Please support those black-owned businesses. And also download the app Fanbase. All right, y'all, that is it. I appreciate it. I will be in Arlington, Texas tomorrow, picking up an award from the Bow Collective. I'll be live from there on tomorrow. That's it. Plus, don't forget, beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern, we will have coverage of Bishop William Barber's The March taking place in Raleigh. Let's actually run that spot so they can be familiar with it again. It's running right now, and then I'm going to close it out.
My brothers and my sisters, this is Bishop William J. Barber II, and I'm coming to you with an urgent call from repairers of the breach and all of our partners. From Wednesday, February the 11th to Saturday, February the 14th, it's time to love forward together. We are mobilizing from Wilson to Raleigh. This is a call to all who love voting rights, love justice and truth, who believe in health care for all, living wages, labor rights, and caring for every person in our communities, who believe in life and not shooting people down in the street. We march each morning, February the 11th, 12th, 13th at 9 a.m., beginning at St. James Christian Church in Wilson, North Carolina. And on February the 14th, we gather at Shaw University, march down Fayetteville Street, and we have a rally right there at 10 o'clock a.m. Join us for the Love Forward Together Mass People's Assembly and Moral March mobilization. Visit breachrepairers.org for everything you need to register. This is William J. Barber II, paid for by Repairers of the Breach.
All right, folks, again, we'll be live 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow right here. Go to our YouTube channel, Black Star Network app, and we'll be live every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and, of course, for the closing event on Saturday. So, and then look for live updates on The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day at noon Eastern. And so be sure to check that out as well. And, of course, we'll have updates on Roland Martin Unfiltered as well. All right, y'all, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Go Rockets. Also, I love the old school Rocket colors because it's the same colors as my high school Jack Yates. So that's why I'm rocking the colors today. All right, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Holla!